Some of you have probably heard the news about radio legend, conservative talk radio host Rush Limbaugh and his passing. He just passed away at the age of 70, according to his wife, who announced it on his radio program this morning. And if you're a conservative like me, Rush Limbaugh has been a fixture in your life in some form or fashion. My dad, who is a refugee from Lithuania, first heard him, I believe it was August 1st of 1988, which was his first ever broadcast. I wasn't born yet. I came in 1991, but my dad always tells me how he was listening to the radio in California and heard this guy on. And when I was old enough to perceive and understand things, complex subjects and debate and whatnot, I would hear the name Rush Limbaugh all the time. He was a common fixture at table discussions. I would always hear my dad recount the travails of his day and how he heard different things on the radio and how this guy sounded a lot like him in his philosophical thinking, his political thinking. And to say that this guy was not consequential would be a huge mistake. There would be no conservative media without Rush Limbaugh. And I can say that as someone who has benefited greatly from having a platform across different publications, social media and whatnot. He laid the groundwork for a lot of talk radio hosts, for alternative media, for conservative media ecosystem. And if you're a young conservative like me, even if you don't agree with all his stuff, he was a trailblazer in this respect. And it is really saddening to hear that. From what I understand, he was a very generous man. I never had the pleasure to meet him, unfortunately. I was mentioned on his show in January of 2013 about the payroll tax expiration, so that was such an honor to be mentioned. I have gone on his show when Mark Stein guest hosted a few years ago about what was happening in Virginia. I've met his brother, nicest guy ever. His staff is exemplary and wonderful. He couldn't have had a better staff, Bo Snerdley and others, his call screeners. Everyone is super professional. And I want to express my condolences to his wife, to his family members, extended family members, and to those who loved him and respected him and listened to him. And oh gosh, going forward, I don't know what's going to happen in conservative media. He was a titan. He did a lot. That's a big hole to fill, a big gap, a big void to fill. And I don't know who's going to fill that void. But this is kind of an appreciation video, kind of off the cuff a little bit, me and my thoughts. But I wanted to express my condolences for Rush Limbaugh and his loved ones. The conservative movement lost an icon, and we should honor his accomplishments and what he was able to accomplish, getting people to discuss things, to think about conservative issues. He exposed millions of people to conservatism unlike any other. We have a lot of people who discovered limited government, free market principles, social conservative ideals, and all just the different tenets of political conservatism through his radio show. And it'll be very hard for someone to fill the void. And perhaps there's a good way that we can honor his legacy, replaying his shows, talking about what he's done. But if you were impacted by him, I would love you to include it in the comments below. Share your thoughts with me. And let me know if he impacted you in some way. My dad, like I said, was a big fan of his. We liked hearing about him in our family. I've read some of his books. His family, like I said, is super nice in just the brief interactions I've had with them. And young conservatives should read and learn more about him, because I think he will go down in history as someone who really impacted radio, talk radio, for the better. And even if you aren't conservative, he opened a lot of doors for people across talk radio on the left, center, right, whatever. And it is really sad that a lot of people are going to chastise him in a very gross way. Twitter, I don't even want to look at and see just the gross comments. Anytime a conservative passes away, this happens, and that's really sad. And that people can't put aside partisan politics just to wish condolences. Like, don't be mean, extend some grace. And even if you vehemently disagreed with him, just don't be callous. That's all that we could ask of you. But this is kind of a little video expressing my thoughts, kind of raw thoughts on the passing of Rush Limbaugh, why he was a consequential figure in conservative media, and the void that needs to be filled. So if you're in conservative media, take it upon yourself to kind of learn from him and educate people. I'm signing off, and stay tuned for kind of unrelated to this, but I have another video coming out later today. You don't want to miss it.